Iron Man was released in 2008 and was directed by Jon Favreau, and starring Robert Downey Jr., Terrence Howard, Jeff Bridges, and Gwyneth Paltrow. And the synopsis is, after being held captive in an Afghan cave, billionaire engineer Tony Stark creates a unique weaponized suit of armor to fight evil. Now, I am someone... Okay, now, if you don't know, which is impossible to not know, this is the start of the MCU, aka the most popular franchise to date, possibly, if I'm not mistaken, genuinely. And is still ongoing to this day, as you all know, and is almost gonna be... almost been going on for nearly 20 years soon. And so this is the birth of the most popular franchise ever. But because this is the start of it, is it good? Well, let me just say, yes, it is still really good. Just a little less for me this rewatch. Anyways, I'll tell you why. Let me just get started with, the best part about this movie. Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic. Like, he is absolutely great as Iron Man. And not mention him, the emotions he brings with him starting off as this selfish, cocky billionaire brat to one of the best hero arcs, if not the best hero arc, in any comic book movie or franchise ever. Robert Downey Jr. does that amazingly. He'd been in movies before, like Zodiac the year before, and was great in that, but he also just is honestly better as Tony Stark. It's like he was born to play this character. Not mention, it looks visually stunning. While its cinematography does look a little dull, admittedly, it still looks very stunning, especially with the suit, which looks gorgeous. The lighting on it looks so real. In fact, I'm looking on Letterboxd right now, and the icon here is just so gorgeous. Like, genuinely, you need to look at, like, oh my god, it is so freaking gorgeous. It looks so good, genuinely. And it also looks really good with, the final fight. And not mention the action in here, with as little as we get compared to now, I do think that the action here is well handled. Especially the, short one in the small town, which Tony Stark, he just flies in there and saves everyone. I kind of like that, even though it is very short. I do think it works great emotionally also with it, with how those people are set free. Just kind of awesome, honestly, to just see that. Not mention just the overall setup. Rewatching this movie, I forgot how much it set up the MCU, honestly, surprisingly. Because with how much they say that leads into the later movies, which kind of surprised me admittedly. But like, genuinely. Jeff Bridges, I'm not gonna say much about him later. I'm gonna talk about him later, but, I will say when he is in that suit, when he becomes Ironmonger, when he becomes that, he is really good in the movie. The acting overall is pretty good. There are some that aren't the best. But genuinely. Honestly, issues here. This movie's surprisingly pretty flawed. First thing is Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, I'm not saying it because I hate her, and I think she is one of the worst people to ever exist with the whole shit with Goop and, that kind of stuff. who's pretty dangerous. I'm not gonna get into that, but, like, she isn't really that good in the movie. There's some, like, mainly with dramatic moments. There's one, towards the end, which kind of had me chuckling. Also, the CGI on Ironmonger looked pretty bad. And Jeff Bridges, he does a pretty good job as the main villain in here, but it is so obvious from the beginning. It is so obvious what is going to happen. Not mention, it's like the kind of thing he admits it while not fully saying it. You know, like that stuff which, like, yes, you want it to be suspicious and stuff like that. And even if it being obvious, you can also make it just have this flavor to it that just, you think you know it's coming, but you're not sure. And then it does happen. It doesn't do that. It's clearly obvious from the beginning, honestly. But yeah, honestly, this is still a really good movie. And not mention the post-credit scene with Nick Fury is just awesome. I love that. It is just an absolute blast. I will say surprisingly that, the movie's 126 minutes with credits. I was surprised how fast it honestly moved, surprisingly. Like, genuinely, I actually checked the runtime, and I was 31 minutes in. And it kind of surprised me, and later, an hour in, just a little over an hour in, that surprised me, honestly. I will say it is not as interesting as other entries later. I was mostly looking at my phone a bunch of the time, honestly. Because it did become a little uninteresting. Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues, is that it can be a little uninteresting. But it is pretty interesting with the backstory, especially with later movies, that makes it more interesting. Overall, I'd give Iron Man a B+. That is what I would give Jon Favreau's Iron Man, who'd make the most realistic movie ever made. But yeah, overall, I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want, or don't, I don't care. Like this if you enjoyed it, which possibly don't. But yeah, this is the start off, my MCU reviews. I have reviewed only one of them in the past. Thor: Love and Thunder, my opinion has changed, definitely, when we, get to that. I'm doing it because, so I won't have to bother, reviewing them, like, you know what I mean. So yeah, and with Secret Invasion coming out, I'll review all the movies and TV shows. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned, because I will be continuing, my DCEU reviews with, Batman v Superman. Soon we'll start, the Mission Impossible reviews in, July, I'll say. The Insidious reviews, Indiana Jones reviews, and the Wes Anderson reviews, and many, many more. There's a movie you'd like me to review, new and old, or if there's a new franchise, or if there's a franchise you want me to review, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Stay awesome.